Hey everyone, I just got back to Charleston at 2 in the morning. um, my flight was canceled from Charlotte to Charleston, and the only way back would be a flight today that would get me in at like 7-ish, and then I wouldn't be able to have my webinar tonight for everyone at 8. So I hope you can join us for that, but in the meantime, I wanted to share a little bit about the journey that happened when my flight was delayed because it was a little crazy. And I could have chosen to really go down a rabbit hole that I didn't want to go down. So basically last night I came from my flight in Pittsburgh to Charlotte, flew into Charlotte, found out my flight from Charlotte to Charleston was canceled. And basically my options were I could either wait and stay at a hotel in Charlotte and get a flight back to Charleston the next day, like at 1 o'clock was the earliest, and it would reroute through DC and come back to Charleston, which just sounded like a big headache, and then I wouldn't have been able to do my webinar tonight. So basically I was like, okay, well, what are my options? I'm 3 hours driving away from Charleston, so maybe I'll just collect my luggage and drive back. Well, couldn't get my luggage because their flights had been delayed for like 2 days, and there was like a pileup of people and they just weren't going to do it. So cool. And I was like, okay, I got all the information that I needed to get for phone numbers and all the info I needed to get my bag when it arrived in Charleston. Then I went over to the rental car place and I was like, okay, I'm going to get a rental car and just drive back. Well, turns out they had no rental cars because you needed a reservation for a rental car, and everyone had already booked them and they were like 2 days, delayed. All the flights had been crazy because of some like thunderstorms and things. So I could have rented a town car for $450 to drive me to Charleston, which didn't really sound like the best plan. And I probably couldn't have gotten a hotel room because everything was booked up and everybody was on standby for the next morning's flights and throughout the day into Charleston. So my option was this really awesome guy in front of me in line, or behind me in line, had mentioned that he was heading back toward Charleston. He's actually going to Savannah. So another guy was in line behind him, and he was saying that he was also going to Charleston. So we kind of all decided to carpool because this one guy did have a reservation. It was super awesome, crazy experience, and probably like normally not the safest thing to do. I get that, but I knew that these guys were really great, and one of them worked for the Department of Defense, so obviously had a lot of clearances and security things and things like that, so I felt pretty safe doing that. And then the other guy was also there, and he was a chiropractor in Charleston. So really crazy meeting of people, but I just love those moments of synchronicity when we're presented with an opportunity and we take it, and we take the adventure, we choose the adventure. And then from there, things just start to unfold. So we all, of course, were talking the whole time back. It was about a 3-hour drive back to Charleston, and we were all chatting about just life and our work and our missions in the world and just really incredible things. And we're all at a different point in life, and both of the guys had actually grown up in the same town, and like it was so funny, like the little synchronicities and things. And I just kept thinking, had I not had this experience, this trip would have been really frustrating, right? So it ended up being super fun and awesome, and I got to meet 2 new really great people. And then I finally got back at like 2 a.m., fell asleep, went to bed, got up, and had to go to the airport to get my bag. So I expected it to be there at like 8:45, that's what they said the previous day. And turns out I get there at like 10:15-ish, and they're just unloading the bags. So it was perfect. But I thought for a brief moment there that it just wasn't going to come. So I was standing at the like baggage claim and waiting to see my suitcase pop out of the little thing, and just thinking like, oh my God, this is so annoying. I am hangry at this point. I haven't eaten anything. I don't have any groceries. I need to go to Whole Foods after this and get some stuff, stock it up, and then be able to sit down and create and really like have a few client calls today and do my work and create my webinar slides, just like finish, like put all the final touches on everything, and then meet with you guys tonight. And I also have, we're starting with a new goddess in the Embodied Goddess Sisterhood, so we're working with the Wise Woman this month, and I had to prepare like a little intention setting call for tonight as well. So there are so many things to do, and I was like frustrated and getting a little icky feeling, and like finally got my suitcase. Then I was happy. Then I went to Whole Foods. Then I came out of Whole Foods and it was like torrentially downpouring, and all my stuff got wet, and I like threw everything in the car, and by that point I just like had to sit there and just breathe for a moment, be like, okay. Everything's fine, I have my luggage, I have my groceries, I just have to go home and like unload everything and get started with my day. So, finally come home, get a shower, whatever, and like get my day started. But of course there are distractions, right? And there are always going to be moments in our lives when we can't anticipate what's going to happen. But I think what's beautiful about it is that we can always make the most out of every situation. We can always choose the adventure. We can always open to the lessons that we're being presented with in that moment. We can always make it beautiful. We can always find the silver lining, as some people like to say. We can always find the beauty in the experience. So, for example, I could have been really freaked out and frustrated and all these things throughout this whole like travel experience. But instead, I'm actually really grateful for it because I got to meet some really great new people. And everything's fine at the end of the day. I'm here, I'm ready for this free training tonight at 8, and I can't wait to connect with you guys. So just wanted to share a bit about where I am today, and hopefully, you know, share with you that sometimes life is crazy, but we can always find the beauty in the moment and the lessons that we're being presented with. So I hope y'all are having a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.